Excellent. Good evening, everyone on Property Development Australia. Welcome to the business of property. And we have a very familiar face here, Tony Meredith from Tony Meredith Coaching. Welcome
Hello,
again.
Cheryl. Hello again. Thanks for having me back.
Hello. We love having you here. Oh, we've got a few people coming in through
Great.
the Zoom room. And let's have a little hello to Facebook land. Hello, Facebook land. How are we all? Happy
There we
Tuesday.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh,
I've just got I've just got us live over here. I'm on TV, Cheryl.
you're watching yourself?
It's magnificent.
Excellent. Welcome, everyone. And we are talking about, and this topic comes up very often, is how do I work with real estate agents to be able to get the sort of information that I need to really understand a suburb? If we're looking at development sites, how do I know who's buying? What are they buying it for? I actually am not that comfortable talking to agents.
Yeah, this is where it came from. It came from people who have this fear of talking to agents, and it really has staggered me. And people who, to a point where they just will not call an agent, or they place an enormous amount of meaning around dealing with agents. And I thought, I've got to be able to help these people because, as you know, that's my job, right? I help people. I get to do it on a daily basis. And I thought, well, how can I help people in overcoming what is a fear, and in a lot of cases a really debilitating fear. As I said, through coaching people, I didn't realize just how widespread this problem was.
And why is that the case? I mean, first of all, let's step back. Why, we've got property developers and investors here. Why is it important to actually speak to agents and have them on your side?
Sure. Well, sorry, I was just checking my microphone, making sure I'm on. So property development and property generally, right? So whether it be in renovating or investing, whatever, it's a team game, it's a team sport, and you need to have a team around you of people that can facilitate your business. And that might be in development, it might be a civil engineer, it might be a town planner, it might be a solicitor, it might be a accountant, or it might be a real estate agent, right? And so it's about understanding that how can a real estate agent help me in securing a deal. So in order to be successful in property development, at some stage you need to purchase a property, right? Or you need to get a property under control. And so in a lot of cases, you're going to need an agent to help you with that. Why? Because agents are on the ground, they know what's going on. It's their job to be the area experts. As developers, we will cast the net out wide, in some cases too wide, but we cast the net out wide. And we can't possibly know all the things that are going on everywhere in every single suburb. And so to have someone who's on your team and on the ground working for you, I think is advantageous.
And why is it that you have found, what are the reasons why people have this sort of anxiety or challenge, or what's the word,
Well, it is anxiety. It's anxiety. It's a fear.
word
It's
there?
it's it's a it's a
Yeah.
fear of dealing with the agents, and there's so many, right? And so it's an agent will sell to me. Agents typically slippery salespeople, and they're going to sell to me, and I'm going to be buying something that I don't really want, or they're not going to be truthful to me. Maybe agents can be arrogant, intimidating, cause me to work hard, don't return my call. These are all reasons that people come up with in their mind as to why these agents are this big, scary being that that is not going to help us. And it's just ridiculous. Now, I'm not suggesting that there aren't some agents out there who are like that. There are, right? But I'm going to suggest that in my experience, the majority of agents are hardworking, good, decent people out there trying to make a living. Their job just happens to be that they list and sell houses or properties.
And do you find that people sort of think as well that they might come across, particularly when they're starting out in development investment, that they might come across to the agent like they're not sure what they're doing, and then I don't know, the agent might take advantage of that or whichever. Is that a
Potentially.
thing?
Yeah, of course it's a thing. It's a big thing. But here's something that I'm going to let everyone in on, a little secret tonight, is that the majority of agents that I've come across don't understand developing. Don't understand developing. So if you're an agent who's out there watching, you understand developing, great. Before you scream at me, that's awesome. But the reality is that a lot of agents just don't get it, and they don't understand all the costs that are involved in developing. So here we are as timid people wanting to get out there and buy a property, and we're placing this agent on this huge pedestal. But the reality is that they don't really know much about developing themselves. That's fascinating. And it's fascinating when you sort of break this down and get into the psychology of it all.
And so if that is the case, right, how do we change around that perspective of agents are not scary? They're actually you should be actually looking them as a collaborative sort of partnership.
So the reason I'm bringing the glass up is because this is the most common example of same object, different meaning, right? So we talk about a glass half full, glass half empty. It's the same glass with the same amount of water. It's just that someone's looked at it from a optimistic position or perspective, and someone else has looked at it from a pessimistic perspective. And that's the reality. So it's the same glass. So we can look at the same agent, two of us, and we can have different meanings that we associate with that agent. So one person may have the meaning of they're scary, they're intimidating, they're slippery salespeople, they're all these types of things. Hello. I love how we have all these extra guests come on. Can't hear you. So we have all these so scary agents, where the other person could look at it and say, well, an agent is advantageous to growing my property business. They're going to help me with my team. They're going to help me find the off-market and pre-market deals. They're going to help me from a speed perspective. So I'm looking at the same agent and I'm coming at it from a very, very, very different perspective. So it's all around, we need to change the meaning.
That agents are not going to eat you up, chew you and spit you out if you ask questions.
An agent is simply trying to do their job. And again, yes, there will be some agents that are prickly, and I understand that, okay? But ultimately, they're trying to do their job. And let's not forget what their job is. Their job is to get the best price for the vendor, for the person who's selling the house. That's their job. So that's their job. So how can we facilitate that? How can we help them achieve their particular objective? Because, quite often as developers, we're coming at it from the other end, right? Which is, how do I buy this for as cheaply as I possibly can? And so it's about, well, how do we come together to help each other out? And again, in the spirit of creating an effective team.
Yeah. And so what are the things that we can do? And I've got a few people that's saying hello from Facebook land, CEO,
Hello.
Dean, and we've got some guests in the Zoom chat as well. What are the things, and one of the ways that I've found, I used to be in the same position where I was just like, they could just smell, fresh meat, don't know what she's doing. But as I got more used to talking to more agents and all of that, but that part of like even practicing, right? What are some really handy tips for someone that's going to be dealing with a whole lot of agents do to prep themselves before they dive into?
Absolutely. So here's the thing about agents. Agents do a phenomenal amount, the better agents do a phenomenal amount of training, right? They train very hard to sell. They work on a whole range of techniques. They work on a whole range of scripts. They work on a whole range of how do I overcome objections. And yet on the other end of the spectrum, as buyers, we think that, oh, well, we'll just pick the phone up and have a chat to this dude or this lady at the end and we'll be right. Or that is if we have the courage to pick the phone up. So in regards to tips, well, why don't you figure out some things that you'd like to know? Why don't you figure out some questions that you'd like to ask? Write yourself down a list of those questions. Practice those questions, right? And here's the other thing regarding dealing with agents. It's called getting started. The first time that you do anything, right, whether it be dealing with agents, putting in a low offer, whatever it is, anything for the first time, asking a boy or girl out, it's scary, it's fearful, it's going to feel yucky and awkward, and accept that that is going to be the reality. It's not going to be perfect. So you have to get out of your own way. And you have to recognize, and you just said it before, you started off, but then you had more conversations and more conversations and more conversations. And what happened when you had more conversations? You made some mistakes, you learned. You made some mistakes, you learned. You refined the things, you asked a question, that didn't get the response, you changed it next time. And over a period of time and having phone call after phone call, guess what happens? You aren't scared anymore, right? And there's a psychological reason why this happens.
Mm.
And
Oh, you got
the
zoom yourself.
I'm blurry.
There we go.
So the reason is that our mind wants to keep us safe.
Mm.
It wants us to survive. And so it's all around. It thinks that we're in danger, right? Our mind thinks, oh my gosh, this is a scary situation. My heart rate's increased. I'm getting sweaty under my arms. My breath's getting faster and shorter. My mind says I'm in danger, right? And then what happens is you have that phone call with the agent. You come out the other end of that phone call and you go, huh, that wasn't too bad. And how often does that happen,
Absolutely.
right? How many things? And again, this is not just an agent conversation. This is just in life, right? It's like you have this thing that is causing you to have a whole deal of anxiety, and you do it, and you come out to the side and you go, my gosh, that wasn't that bad after all. What was I so worried about, right? And so then what your mind says is it says, well, you're safe. So then you go and do it again, and your mind says you're safe, and you do it again, and your mind says you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. And of course, what happens is your mind then says, hey, you're actually not in danger. You're not in physical danger
Yes.
in this situation, and it says, well, it's okay. And of course, you're refining your skill along the way. So there's as I said, there's a psychological reason why this is the
Mm.
case, and we all go through it. So we all go through all sorts of fears. Like if you're sitting there at home going, I'm the only person in the whole world that has this fear, I'm going to call BS on you, because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
We all have them. And I have enormous fears, and I'm about to conquer part of one this Friday, right? So which has nothing to do with property. It's about my fear of heights. So, we have fears, and it's about leaning into those. You have to lean into them.
You're doing another heights thing.
Yeah, so on Friday, yeah, so
Yes.
what's happening is last year I was gifted a
Is this
skydiving.
the skydiving? I've been
Well, no, no,
wondering that.
no, no, it's not skydive. It's called iFly, so it's indoor skydiving. So
Oh,
I'm gonna start with that.
floaty thing.
Yep, going to start with that, and we're going to see how we go. That'll be on Friday. So I dare say my wonderful friends will stream that all over Facebook. So if you're around on Friday afternoon, you want a good laugh, then watch a big guy get incredibly nervous over that. So that's going to be Friday, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Just knock my photo up. We'll see what happens from there. So my point is that we all have a whole range of fears, and
Yeah, yeah,
there are people
absolutely.
who have fears in relation to agents. It's the fear of rejection. It's the fear of being sold to. It's the fear of missing out as well. It's
Mm.
it's it's FOMO.
Yeah,
So there's a variety of fears that we have.
yeah,
Fear of
sure.
looking foolish. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main ones for people who are starting out and having to and speaking with agents who, there may be some agents who have been in the property game for a long time and
Mm,
do
mm,
know development,
mm,
and
mm,
they can like I said, they can smell fresh meat sort of thing.
mm,
But it is all about also preparation. So just with anything, like the I realized I got a lot better when I prepped myself for calls,
mm,
and I knew the sort of answers that were open answers, open-ended answers, whatever,
mm.
not yes, no. It was all
Questions.
tell
Yep.
me
Open-ended
questions,
questions. Yep. Yep.
questions and answers as well.
Yep.
So questions that would get the agent to speak a lot more as well.
Mm.
And provide a lot more information. Actually,
Hello.
he had a great face-to-face meeting with a local. Oh, can you not hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. It just went a
Hello.
bit. I don't know if it was me or you or whatnot,
Oh,
but
funny,
that's
funny.
okay.
Oh, good. Sean has said he had a great face-to-face meeting with a local real estate agent who was very helpful. Found out the main types of houses in high demand at great prices, and quite a few other things that's helping us refine our plans for best results. That's fabulous. That's exactly the reason why you want to have an agent on your side.
They're on the ground. They know more than you in regards to what's going on in that local suburb, because you can't possibly know everything. Yes, we strive to be area experts, but that's what they do. They do it on a daily basis. They know that Mrs. Smith may be thinking of selling in 2 months' time. They
Mm,
know what something is just sold for or someone wants on a particular property. And so it's about leveraging them into your team. They know the off market or pre market opportunities that are out there. And in this game, it's all around speed. It is about
mm,
speed, speed, speed. It is a competitive marketplace. And for you to secure that property and get it under offer first, you need to be quick. And you need to think about, well, how can I accelerate my journey and my journey of securing the property? Well, if I can have someone in my team who can bring me the off-market or pre-market opportunities, then I need to act quickly on that and go back promptly, and I give myself every chance of success. Once something hits realestate.com, generally, forget it. Too late, gone.
Mm.
So it's all about how do I build that relationship so that I'm the one who's getting them first and foremost, and then it's up to me to come back and respond with an appropriate offer or no offer if you choose.
Yeah. And so the question is, what
Mm.
are the sort of questions to
There's heaps.
ask?
There's firstly, I just want to go back a step, right? So
Yeah.
one thing I want to talk about is, again, you want to understand why you need to have a relationship with an agent, but the next
Mm.
is you want to understand what is your goal, right? You
Yes.
need to do
Yeah.
these things because when you're confronted with something that's a bit yucky, that makes you feel uncomfortable, you need to have something beyond that fear. So they say that the best things in life, excuse me, the best things in life are on the other side of fear.
Mm.
Your goal to be a property developer or to secure your first property or to get your next deal or whatever your goal might be is going to be on the other side of that fear. And so you've got to have something that's into the distance that you're working towards, and it's going to keep you going because you're going to have challenging times, you're going to have challenging conversations, and you're going to get off the phone, you're going to feel like this is all too hard and throw my hands in the air. So it's important to have that something that's beyond the other side. Your question was then around what are some of the questions? So, questions such as, why is the vendor wanting to sell? Very important,
Mm.
very important, because you want to understand what the motive is. And based on what the motive is, you can then shape your response accordingly. Maybe someone needs to sell quickly. Maybe someone isn't in any hurry to sell. Maybe they've gone and purchased something else. Maybe they've got a bill to pay. Who knows, right? There's a myriad of different reasons as to why someone would need to sell. And so it's about understanding what are the motives behind why it is someone can sell, because what comes next from you in the regards to an offer can look very, very different based on the responses that you get from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so you might want to ask things like around the features of the property. What are the great things about the property? What's the neighborhood like? Some general questions around the property itself. Has there been any other offers? If so, what level was the offers, right? Now, again, just because you ask a question doesn't mean you're going to get the answer. But at least if you ask it, you give yourself half a chance, right?
Mm.
So please don't expect that, hey, I've gone and asked these questions and the agent's going to sit there and divulge all of this information to you, because I can tell you I've had plenty of conversations where the agents have been very closed, right? And I've been throwing a gazillion different open questions at them and they've been incredibly closed. And it is what it is, right? You're gonna get those types of agents, but you have to at least ask those style of questions to understand, right? How long's it been on the market for? Why, if it's been on for a long time, why do you think it's been on the market for a long time? Right. So
Mm.
every time you ask a question, based on the answer, there's an opportunity for another question. So it's like when you go to a door and you open up a door, and then on the other side of the door are two more doors, and you choose which door you go in, and you open up that one, and there's two more doors. And so you're constantly opening these doors. That's how I look at my questioning side of things. So it's like I get an answer back. Well, then what can I ask based on that answer?
Yeah.
So it's been on the market for 3 months. Cool. So I don't say cool, but in my mind I think cool. Why has it been on the market for 3 months? Have there been any offers that have happened? Maybe there's been some offers and it's crashed. Why did those offers crash? Again, maybe you get the truth, maybe you don't, but at least if you ask that question, you give yourself half a chance.
Let's sort of, I think where I'd like to sort of step back a little bit, because it
Sure.
looks like we've got some questions for if a property is for sale
Mm,
to start off with. So whether
mm,
that's an agent or a vendor,
mm,
and then some questions around researching the market as well.
mm.
So I think that's there. We could probably give the audience some tips around how to ask questions around what's for sale,
Okay,
and then
sure.
on and then on the other side, when you've already secured, or if you're looking to secure something but you're trying to do a bit of due diligence as to what's, what sells in the market at what price, the thing that Sean was talking about, because that's another piece of gold there, because you want to be able to find out what you want to deliver to the market as well. What
Well, so yeah, sure. So the success for any property deal is start with the end in mind.
mm,
Goal setting, start with the end in mind. Property development projects, start with the end in mind. And the end is, what can I produce at the end? What product am I going to produce? So it's just that the product in this business and this whole session, Tuesday nights, Business of Property, started a long time ago with you and I having a chat about the fact that we wanted people to start to view property as a business,
Yes.
not as a hobby, right? And you've taken it and grown it phenomenally, and I'm so delighted to see the growth that it's had. But it's all around treating it like a business. So you are going to create maybe 2 products, maybe 4 products, whatever those products could be land, those products could be brand new houses, those products could be townhouses, those products could be units. Start with the end in mind, right? And so the end in mind is what would that sell for?
Mm.
What would a 2-bedroom unit sell for? What would a 3-bedroom unit sell for? What would a vacant block of 400 square metre land sell for? Right? Ask those types of questions so you start to get a feel for what the end looks like.